I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
I'm sitting here with Giulio Gallerati. He is the co-host of Oops, the podcast. And so am I. And this is Oops, the podcast. I'm Francis Ellis.
I've been sitting here, can't get you off my mind.
Did you think I was going to interview you?
On my mind.
There? Did you think that's what I was saying?
No, I didn't, but that was actually funny. That is the way that you would begin an
I'm
interview.
joined by comedian and podcast co-host Giulio Gallerati.
Gallerati.
How are you?
Remember him from
Yeah, look.
NPR, Oops NPR.
Let's do this, man. Let's get into it. So much to cover today.
Lots to cover.
So much to get into. The first thing we were just talking about is I'm not in great shape financially right now.
It's funny, you're wearing all green, which is so ironic. Your watch face to your pants to your sweatshirt, all green. Looks like you're either going to the fucking Michigan State game or to like a St. Patrick's Day parade.
Some old lady once told me that redheads should wear green. It makes redheads look better.
That's festive. I think you look nice.
From that day forward, I only wore green.
It's a nice color. This is like a, would you call this a winter green, a forest green?
I like forest. I'm wearing a Forest
Forest
City sweatshirt. They are an upcoming soccer team out of Portland, Maine, near my hometown in Maine. Shout out to I think it's Forest City, but they're not a team yet. So I don't know what to say. They sent me a sweatshirt. Thank you. It's a really nice sweatshirt.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Hopefully they save some money for the actual starting of the team.
Hopefully they save some money for me because I need help. Dude, I'm looking at this credit. So my credit card statement closes on the 18th of the month. And my billing cycle ends, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then that shuts off what I owe a month later.
And then you get another month.
Yeah. And you do this thing where you just pay as you go.
At the moment, I'm not doing it
Like
because
you're on a Sprint PCS plan.
I'm too in the hole right now to do that. Typically, I pay it every day.
Oh, you gonna take some debt?
No, like I'm not intending on paying interest on it. I just am kind of like, I don't have enough money to pay it off.
Man, the discrepancy right now between how much money there is in my checking account, which is what I use to pay my credit card bills, versus how big the credit card bill is. It's one of those things that where it's impossible to connect how I'm going to get there.
Right.
Like I'm standing at the base of Mount Everest saying, well, I'm in a t-shirt and I have no mountaineering experience, nor do I have ropes, ladders, oxygen tanks, Sherpas, or any means of getting to the top. And yet somehow I have 30 days to come up with a way of getting up there.
Dude, I hear you. It's crazy. And I'm trying to remember that if I absolutely need to, I can fucking dig into the coffers to cover what I need to if I have to. But
Man,
I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
I was almost going to ask you and Chris if I could just take your shares of the podcast revenue for the month and take a loan from Oops.
Dude, if I
I would never do that, by the way.
I didn't think you were serious.
But I'm selling things. That's where I'm at.
Yes.
I'm selling things.
Which is a great thing to be doing. Good, man. It's a humbling experience selling your
I am
shit.
selling sneakers.
That's great.
I'm about to sell that guitar.
Are you really?
I don't want to.
Dude, when I was in college, you know what I used to do?
What?
I used to walk around my floor in my robe selling DVDs. Boogie Nights special edition, huh?
Did you really?
Dude, I swear to God.
Would you burn them?
No, they were the originals.
Oh, because you had them.
I just didn't have the cash to keep up. And in freshman year, I had a girlfriend, so it was a little easier because I just talked to her on the phone, and then when she'd visit, we'd do stuff. But still, I had no income, and I was playing tennis and shit. I just didn't have any money.
Right.
So I was like, people knew me as like the guy walking around the floor selling DVDs.
Wow, that's not the worst thing. I mean, what were you selling them for?
$15. I mean, dude, this is a while ago, not to age myself, but this is when DVDs were still a thing.
Yeah, I remember.
You know,
Of
so,
course.
and I had, the special edition, this or that. And I kind of like collected, I sort of had this weird thing where I would always buy DVDs in high school or whatever,
Mhm.
brought them with me to college. And then I started deciding, can I part with some of these? Do I really like Paul Thomas Anderson that much?
Yeah.
Maybe not. Magnolia box set. You know what I mean? I don't know.
You
So-
start slimming down, but man, I'll tell you,
How's it going though? You have some nice sneakers.
I do, but I brought them into. Did I tell you this in the last episode? I
No,
brought them
no.
into the. I
He
brought
did?
more
I thought he
pairs
told us
in.
after the episode.
They didn't want half the pairs I brought. I think I said that.
On the episode, he said that?
Sure did.
Sorry.
See,
Chris.
this is the danger.
Obviously, Chris knows that.
This is one of the reasons that you and I can't hang out when we're not recording, because we'll say things to each other and then we don't remember what was said into the microphone or not.
Well, we hung out this weekend too, which we'll cover a little later.
Holy shit.
But all right, so I want to hear more because, dude, it's funny how you and I have maintained this parallel, and I don't know if this is good or bad for the podcast that we are on like the same life schedule. Essentially,
It's eerie.
it is. It's certainly eerie. I wonder, like, if we would benefit more from like one of us being single and one of us being with a girlfriend, so everybody could relate to us
Okay.
or something.
We'll rock, paper, scissors to see who has to break up with their girlfriend and break the lease and then go out on the town and start collecting STDs.
No, I honestly think it is a unique thing that is positive. Because, there's plenty of fucking single guys, dude, I banged this chick last night. Like, we don't do that,
No, not
however,
us.
okay, so have moved. I am moving.
Moving in.
Your move is a much more sort of clunky, robust move. There's more stuff.
Yeah.
I'm buying new stuff, which is expensive. Fortunately, my girlfriend, anytime she's like, I want this. And I'm like, do we really need that? She's like, yes, I'll buy it. I'm like, okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Sorry to rub that in your face.
No, the thing is that my girlfriend has sort of offered. She says things like, well, why don't you let me take this one or whatever? And I know that we're at a point in our relationship where potentially in the very near future, our finances will be combined.
Mm-hmm.
So if she makes reckless financial decisions, I'm going to open up that world. I'll be privy to that soon. Why would I want her to take on debt if in a year I'm just going to that's going to be
your
mine?
debt too? Have you ever seen the movie Dancer in the Dark?
No.
It's starring Bjork,
The singer from Iceland.
which seems odd, and it's this weird musical. It's a really weird but good movie. Definitely recommend it. One of the plot lines, her next door neighbor, he just can't say no to his wife, but he has no money.
Mm.
And like he confides in her and tells her that. And he's just like, I can't tell her. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to kill myself, whatever.
Oh gosh.
And I see, similarities with what you're saying.
Well, I don't. It's weird because my girlfriend's someone who is not that transparent about her finances.
Okay.
And a lot of people aren't.
Right.
I'm very upfront with her about this is my situation. I almost tell her like what I made in a given week. And it's not weird for me, but I have a general sense of how much she makes, but it's always changing because she works in software sales. So she gets
She'll have a big
commissions
quarter.
and these
Right.
bonuses and whatever else. But it seemed like she killed it last year. I don't know if she's still in that
Right.
good zone. I don't know if she's still getting all kinds of money from her performance last year, which she could then put towards taking on some of these expenses.
Right,
Dude,
right.
couches, man. It's fucking couches. Just couch after couch after
Yeah,
couch.
it's crazy.
Now we need an outdoor one.
Jesus.
And those
you
are
have
really,
a lot
they're
of,
just
lot
as
of footage
expensive.
here, dude. A lot of footage. A lot of space to fill, pal.
You know what? Just to make myself calm down about this, I'm going to read you a DM. Not a DM. So I went back into the Call Her Daddy subreddit.
Yes.
And sometimes I just go in there because the problems are so ridiculous that it makes me feel less bad about my own problems.
It's good.
This is a post, and it says, I know this is toxic, but can someone please help me out and slide into my boyfriend's DMs to see if he's loyal? He's been acting shady recently, and I want to see if or how he responds.
Wow.
And then
Framing him. Well, not framing him, setting him up.
someone said, feel free to message me his handle. I've done this a few times. Ha ha. And then someone else said, I can do it. And someone else said, I would totally do it. Ha ha ha. And then someone else said, can we do this for each other? And someone said, LOL, if you message me, I will. They jumped out of their chairs to help each other out in this entrapment scheme. Now, first of all, tell me your thoughts.
I don't know, dude. I mean, I reply to DMs. You know, I don't necessarily think I did anything wrong there. I mean, it's just the nature of the conversation. Like if he replies to this DM, but it's less random for me because for me, I know these people. I know that these people are hitting me up because of the podcast or comedy or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. So this would be
odd for this guy to be getting hit up. Do we think?
Well, if I had to guess, this guy has probably never received an unsolicited DM from a woman, a stranger in his life.
Right. Unless it's like, click the link.
Yeah. And so my first thought was if he gets 7 messages in the same day from random women being like, hey, cutie, I think you're really hot.
You look like you're packing.
It should arouse his spider sense, right? That was my first thought. And then I was like, well, men are fucking stupid. And he's
7 DMs at once. He'll be like, what did I do today? Did like one of my...
He's like, he's going to be
my
like,
tweet go viral?
I have been hitting the gym a little harder. They're catching on.
I knew that if I committed to posting once a week, it would pay off.
Yeah. That's how stupid men are. My first thought was that he would obviously smell a rat, and then I was like, well, there's no chance. Right. So, okay, keep going. Because you're addressing it as if it's yourself, but
Okay,
I
in
want you
this
to address
situation-
it on behalf of this guy and this girl.
If someone's like, hey, what's up? And he replies, what's up? I don't think he did anything wrong.
That's not what they're going to say.
Is that not what they're going to say?
They're
though?
going to say some cute, flirtatious shit.
So here's what I have to say, though. It's going to take a very specific kind of message to catch him red-handed. Like, you have to really plan this. You need to put this case together well in order to convict. Because if you say, hey, what's up? And he says, hey, what's up? He'd be like, I don't know what she was going to ask me. Maybe it was a work opportunity. If she says, hey, sexy, it's just ridiculous.
My guess is that they're gonna say,
Like, get
I
him
want to
talking.
see a picture of you, or they'll get to a point where
Let me see your dick,
it's
Poppy.
incriminating. Yeah.
Right. And if this girl has a hunch, typically hunches don't come from nowhere.
Yeah, but hold on a second. All right. Well, you know what? Keep going.
I'm just saying, a hunch like that doesn't come out of nowhere. But if you're the type of person who's looking through phones and shit, if you're digging, as they say, you're going to find something. And that can kind of put your brain in that mentality when it wasn't meant to be. But if you're not like going out of your way and you have that feeling usually isn't wrong.
All right. But here's the thing,
I guess that's all I
Giulio.
have to say.
She says, my boyfriend's been acting shady recently.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what that could mean.
What the fuck does that mean? Does that mean that he's coming home late with glitter on his shirt and smelling of perfume and lipstick, implanted on his neck?
I think that's more than shady.
That's shady.
That's in
for
the light.
sure. But what is it that he's taking too long to respond to her texts, which could be a byproduct of a busier work schedule?
Right.
I mean, what if she is weaving this web of deceit, this web of to try to snare him in a fucking crazy, entrapment scheme, and he was just being a normal dude, and she was insecure and had her suspicions aroused, where if she had just gone and asked him straight up, like, what's going on, maybe they could have had an answers come out that would have calmed her down.
It sounds like this is what you think is happening.
I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Okay. That's extreme, though. I mean, maybe it's as simple as he's coming home and he's like, I'm tired, and he rolls over and doesn't want to have sex, and She sees his phone getting texts, but she doesn't know who it's from. Like, it could be something like, it could be something minor, you know?
I agree.
You know?
I agree. I'm saying this seems like the nuclear option to me.
Yeah, this is like you're gaslighting your boyfriend.
You're trying to end the relationship because there are 3 possible outcomes to this adventure, right? The first is one of these girls DMs your boyfriend and gets him on the hook, and then he sends back some very incriminating thing, in which case the relationship should be over, right? Another option is he doesn't incriminate himself, but he finds out that you did this, in which case the relationship should be over, because I couldn't date somebody who was trying to play puppet master and, architect of such devious schemes.
No shot.
And then the third option is he just ignores the DM or, whatever.
And
in
she
which
keeps
case,
trying to find ways to catch him.
in which case, is that going to give her peace? Is that
Maybe.
enough for her to say, oh, I was wrong. He's such a good guy. Or is she going to say, well, maybe he didn't see it. Or maybe he, maybe
Right.
he's on
Right,
to
right,
it. Maybe he sniffed it out. And
Maybe she's convinced at this point. That's true.
the thing is this, if there are any women thinking of doing this, right? If you,
Bad
let's
idea.
say that
Bad
you
idea.
and your boyfriend decide to go on a diet together, right? And you suspect that he is cheating on the diet when he's by himself and eating junk food. Would your solution to testing that theory be to send him an order of chocolate cakes and pizzas and burritos and see how he handles it? That's fucking crazy. You're in a relationship. You're supposed to be like working together with honesty and trust and not further tempting him with treats just to prove your worst insecurities correct. I say that if you feel the need to set up this scheme, you should just break up with him in the first place.
Or go to therapy.
There's nothing that's going to be fixed by doing this.
Yeah, it's stupid. And dude, I mean, yeah, you're right. Like, how about talking to him and seeing, hey, what's up? Or is everything all right? You seem distant lately.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you should try that already.
And
Who
if you're
knows?
still not satisfied with that answer, I don't know. Just break up. Like break up with this person. Why do you need to? Why? This is insane to me
Yeah.
because I don't see a way for him. The odds are against him. Nobody's that. We are, but part of the reason is that women do DM us.
Mhm.
And you just don't even open it. You ignore it. That's what I do.
I don't necessarily.
Well, I'm talking about like women that DM you or DM
Like
us and say
sexually?
like, hey, let's go on a date or here's my number.
Right.
I
Right.
ignore that.
Right.
And I just assume, frankly, that those women don't know that I'm in a relationship.
Right. No, same. Yes, I assume the same. I wonder though if there's like a vetting process going on for the girls who she wants to send the DMs.
Well, that's another consideration.
She's
right?
like, they're like, I'll do it, and she's like, I'm good. on
yeah,
you. He's not gonna reply.
He's not going to fall for that. We need some tastier bait here. I thought about that too. Like, sorry, you're not attractive enough to make this experiment real. That would be so devastating if you volunteered to DM
You're
him.
doing
and,
a good deed and just get shot down.
And yeah,
Dude, I think the moral of the story here potentially is you should try to be in a relationship where you don't have these kind of thoughts. I've
Yeah.
certainly been in them in the past. They're terrible. I'm happy in my current one, and I can't imagine going back to a situation where I'm insecure or unsure, or every day feels like a battle for their attention. Like, that's so stupid. And maybe it's just like an immature thing, and it doesn't, you grow out of that or whatever. But I don't want that again.
no,
So if you're having these toxic thoughts and this and that, maybe it's time to work on yourself or to move on.
I completely agree. Either if you feel the need to set down this American Ninja Warrior obstacle course in front of him just so that he can prove himself to you.
He's at the monkey bars.
If he's made you feel that you need to do that, you should break up with him. And then if I don't know, if you as a guy find out that your girl has done this, that level of suspicion and neuroses is not worth dating, in my opinion. It's just toxic as hell.
Totally,
So
dude.
this is not going to fix it, is my
Dude,
mindset.
Totally.
I do have a question for you, though.
Sure.
A sort of parallel question to this. Have you ever tailed somebody
Oh, wow.
in a car
Like to see where if they were really going where they said they're going or something?
for any reason whatsoever?
What, Chris? Am I forgetting something? The only comparable thing I can think of that I've done is like one time I was at the same place with a person who I was either like seeing or like whatever, and I was just kind of like watching her the whole night and making sure she wasn't like doing anything.
Oof. And she didn't know you were there?
No, she did. She did know I was there.
Oh.
But like was completely like not paying attention to
I
my
was hoping
existence.
you were wearing a mustache and a cap.
I know stories of people who have tailed people.
Really?
And dude, the way that ends is never good.
Really?
The guy getting out of the car being like, "Oh, you said you were," like she's with her friends
Uh-huh.
and he gets out and like busts her in front of everybody. Like that's one of those situations where you think you won, but you've lost.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Have you
Man.
ever done that?
No, I've never tailed anyone. And I was watching Homeland last night. And
What season?
we're watching season 6.
Okay.
I had seen seasons 1 through 5.
I didn't make it past Brody getting executed.
You didn't make it to there, or that's when it ended?
That's when I stopped watching. Like I really,
There's some really good seasons.
I've heard
after
that they really picked it back up.
They really do well.
The season after was a little bit of a down.
I can't remember which one's which. I
Okay.
watched seasons 1 through 5 years and years ago,
Got
and
it.
then took a 6-year break. But then my girlfriend had never seen any of it,
Oh wow.
and she was gracious enough to let me fill her in on seasons 1 through 5 and pick up in season 6,
very nice.
which is very generous.
Wow, what a team player. That's
Fine.
love, folks.
Fine, but I have rewatched full series on her behalf.
Well, then you too are a team player.
Yeah, we meet in the middle.
Very good.
But it's really good. And they tail people on that show a lot.
Yes, there's a lot of tailing.
And there's an art to tailing. You can't get too close, but you can't be too far, especially when you're driving through a city. It's very easy for a car ahead of you to take a left and then another quick right. And if you don't see both of those turns, that car's gone.
Totally. There's an art to
And
it.
but here's the thing, dude, right? You don't ever have tailing on your mind, right? When you're driving.
Right.
You've never gotten in your car and thought, I gotta
Am I
shake a
being
tail.
tailed? But then these characters in these shows are potentially anticipating being tailed,
Yes.
which makes it harder.
My point being, though, that I could be tailed to the extent of my family could be in a car behind me, and I'm talking on my bumper, 3 feet away, and I wouldn't notice.
Right.
That's how trusting I am. I'd be like, man, these people behind me are really in a rush. I wouldn't notice that my family was. I would be so blind to a car that had been following me for miles and miles and miles.
Right.
We don't think about it.
That's true. But
In
that
real-
means,
in
that
real
means
life.
you don't have a guilty conscience or you're not up to anything bad, hopefully.
Do you ever wonder if you've been tailed?
No, but it's an interesting question. I can't imagine why anybody would tail me. Unless it was some like girlfriend's dad being psycho.
That's
That was your
exactly.
thought?
That's exactly what it is. When I was in high school, my sister was 2 years older than me, and my parents were good friends with one of her best friend's parents, and my sister's friend was dating this guy who was a little bit of a loose cannon,
Okay.
and my parents asked my sister's friend's parents, how do you feel about your daughter being driven around by this guy? And he goes, oh, I trust him. And my mom said, why? And the guy goes, I tailed him once. And we all thought that was very funny.
That's pretty good.
But wouldn't it be fun to tail somebody?
Like maybe it's funny in shows how like maybe this is just for dramatic purposes, but like you're always doing a U-turn to begin the tail. You're like double parked, the car goes by. Does that just make it less obvious or something? I would think that would. I don't know. I'm just thinking that's a separate thought. I guess it would be fun though.
We should find a reason to tail somebody.
I know a guy who works for a private investigator, and you know that he's tailing people.
Oh, for sure.
That's like his job.
We should ask him about that.
Do you ever think about this, dude? Like Obama, when he was the president, his kids were like in high school, you know, and
They were a little younger than that, but yeah.
at one point, weren't they in high school? Like during his tenure, and it was 8 years. I mean,
you're right. Maybe Malia was by the
Malia-
time she got by the second term.
I think that she had a boyfriend, and when she was in high school, she had this boyfriend. Right? Can you imagine being that boyfriend? Like, when you go over to a new girl's house, and her dad talks to you, and he gives you the spiel about how like to take care of his little girl, and he like threatens you very subtly. Like, imagine Obama doing that. He's like, "Oh, where are you guys going tonight?" He's like, "Oh, we're going to that pizza place." He's like, "Oh, that's still open." You know what else is still open? Guantanamo.
I mean, the thing is that Obama doesn't have to give that speech to that shitty high school kid because there's a gaggle of armed Secret Service guys that are going to be chaperoning that date.
Right? Is that even tailing? If you're assigned, that's not tailing anymore. That's just like
chaperoning the date.
These are my friends.
Yeah. No, but in Obama's memoir, he talked about how they had really. When they became the first family, they had begged the press corps to leave the girls alone, and they had I think his press secretary had cut some kind of a deal.
That's crazy.
And they did.
Amazing.
You didn't see that many pictures of the girls without the parents.
Not till the end.
Yeah, there were not paparazzi. Unfortunately, since then, Malia's at Harvard now, and. I remember there were pictures of her that came out, smoking a cigarette or something
at
like
a
that.
festival.
And I felt so bad for her. She's a normal girl. She didn't ask for this.
I know.
And she's American royalty at this point.
But like you said, overall, they did better than they could have.
They really did. They did. And I think a lot of that credit goes to Michelle, who strove night and day to create some semblance of normalcy for,
Is this all covered in the book?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted
interesting.
They kept normal-ish hours and had homework insert it, and then they would have sleepovers when the girls were little, where their friends would come over and have build pillow forts.
Oh, that's great.
In the housing quarters of the West Wing or whatever it is.
That's
crazy.
Dude,
Imagine dropping your little 10-year-old off at the White House for the night.
That's crazy.
See you tomorrow when I get
through
security and my background check is finished.
Dude, that's wild. But imagine if you're hooking up with Malia in high school. I'd be afraid to tell anyone. I'd be like, dude, I have something to tell you, but can you meet me in the middle of the parking lot at midnight or something? You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I'd be paranoid.
It would be cool. It would be cool.
Sick. You're the man. You're in high school.
Yeah.
You're fucking.
And they're also. I mean, the girls are stunning. They're tall and gorgeous kids. Not to sound weird, but
well,
they're not. They're like they would be.
The younger one's in college too, right?
Sasha.
Is
she now? She might be. Is she? Where did she go?
I thought she went to one of those NESCAC schools.
Williams?
Maybe. I might be making that up. I might have pulled
Interesting.
that out of my ass. But dude, I mean, one thing's for sure. It sounds like Michelle didn't half-ass.
No, she didn't.
She did
the
not
parenting
half-ass.
or the first lady duty. Absolutely didn't half-ass
She
it.
absolutely didn't. And that's why our pals over at Don't Half-Ass Anything likely are supporters.
Don't half-ass anything.
You guys got to check them out.
Check them out. We love these guys. They have an amazing website, blogs, mountaineering, outdoor adventures. Fits right in with your whole don't pack
does.
light. sort of vibe.
Yeah, it does,
National
okay.
parks, they're making a summit bid for Half Dome in Yosemite. They're talking about it. They interview great mountaineering people, outdoorsy guys, great vibe.
Yeah, and it seems honestly like they just kind of pick up a new endeavor and then just fucking go for it.
They go for it.
Which is in the mission statement. So
it really is.
They have cool clothes. We actually really like their merch, like cool hats,
Yeah,
cool,
they're sending us some
hoodies and stuff. And of course, the notorious ass,
the ass plate,
the human-sized
the ass
ass plate shot glass.
shot glass.
Which, if you have some extra room in your house or apartment or whatever,
We've been
grab
talking
one of
about it
these.
for weeks.
They're pretty ridiculous.
Once you see it, you'll want one. I promise. Don't half-ass anything.com. Promo code OOPS15 gets you 15% off any of the merch on the website. Also check out their Instagram. Don't half-ass anything. We love these guys. Seriously, check them out.
Yeah, correction. I was incorrect. Sasha goes to the University of Michigan.
Cool. Go blue.
Wolverines.
Go blue. Yeah.
Are you going to get involved in any of the March Madness action?
Oh God, yes. Because I'm going to Vegas.
You're going to Vegas literally during March Madness.
Buddy, though, I have to say this. Historically, I am not tuned into college basketball. This year, you could tell me that...
Oh, same. I don't know shit.
You could tell me that fucking... I don't even know. Des Moines State was in the tournament, the number 1 seed, and I'd buy it. I don't know a single team that's good. I haven't watched a single second of college basketball. I have no sense of what's happening this year.
Same. The only thing I know was from the rapper Benny the Butcher's Instagram, because apparently his boy goes to St. Bonaventure, who won the A10, which means they get into the tournament. That's the only thing that I know.
But even like the ACC tournament was weird because a bunch of teams dropped out due to COVID.
Really?
And so I don't even know who won that. Clearly, this is not a sports podcast.
This is clearly the year to fucking win the tournament. That was a dark horse. Am I right, baby?
So we're going to be, what I'm looking forward to is in Vegas. By the way, they just opened up to 50%, the casinos.
Post up at the sports book.
That's where we're going.
Wasted.
We're going to the sports book. We have a reservation for 8 a.m.
Oh, it's great.
Like 8 till 8
That's
or something.
so fun.
We have a whole table.
That's so fun.
And we're going to be there for 12 hours of college basketball on opening day.
I hope you make like 10 grand. Dude.
I'm not going to make a fucking dollar.
I hope you have a huge day. I mean, dude, but this is what could happen. You make a couple big bets in the morning, you hit a parlay, and all of a sudden by 3 p.m., you're rolling in it.
You don't bet parlays if you're trying to actually do well.
Right, but you could win big. You know?
I'm not that guy. You know why I'm not that guy, Giulio?
Why
Because
are you not that guy?
God gave me a lot in other categories. Do you know when
I'm
you're
just gonna let you go on
Here's
this
what
one.
I mean. I truly believe
ahead.
this.
Let's
I
hear
truly
what you
believe
got.
this. You know when you're creating a player in NBA 2K or Madden or some of these video games,
Yes.
and you have a certain amount of like credit that you can use for that player.
Yes.
So if you really ramp up their speed, you're not going to have as much to use for their ball handling skills.
For their gambling skills.
Yeah, or if you really like make them a monster, super strong paint player, then you're not going to have much left to give them for free throw shooting, right?
You could have also just said you're not that good at gambling.
No.
That's okay.
Here's my point. Whenever I lose a bet, which is most of the time that I'm gambling, I say to myself, well, obviously, whoever made me was filling in my buckets and gave me high marks for a lot of wonderful things for which I'm grateful, but gave me 0 for gambling. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And I say, well, you know what? That's my cross to bear. I won't win in gambling.
I mean, dude, gambling, that's not how gambling works. It's just you get lucky.
You gotta believe in something like that.
Like maybe there's an elite group of a very small percentage of people who actually know what they're doing, but these guys, nobody knows. That's why it's gambling. So
some of the best gamblers I know are very clearly not strong NBA post players. They wouldn't, their other buckets were very shallow.
Michael Jordan, notoriously bad gambler.
Bad gambler. There you go, man. Charles Barkley, same thing.
Okay. Well,
do you know what I
still
mean?
Wish you some luck. Of course, I know what you mean. You can't be good at everything. But I still would argue that being good at gambling is not an easy thing to be doing to begin with.
No, it's impossible.
It's like, there's professional poker players out there and all that stuff, but like, how many professional sports gamblers are there who aren't guys who are like math geniuses?
They live in Vegas.
There's the guy from Jeopardy.
And they're winning at like 54%.
Right.
And they are placing bets around the clock, keeping their unit size the same, tracking trends.
And not being emotional,
It's, and if you commit, I could never commit that much to it.
And there's no casual gambler.
No.
But dude, listen, I believe in you. I think you can go out there and take them. They won't even let you back into the win when you get back.
The only way that I could take Vegas is if I arrived, went to a roulette table, put $1,000 down on one number. Miraculously, it hit. I collected my chips, went to the window, cashed them out, and flew home. That's the only scenario.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to fucking send a prostitute to your door to make sure you're being a good boyfriend.
Good God. What are you, a call her daddy subreddit lurker?
So you better be on high alert, pal.
Devious.
I'm feeling in a prankish mood.
Giulio bought me a hooker.
No,
worry.
she just wanted to meet you.
No, we
That's
just
great.
talked.
Well, dude, you're gonna have a great bachelor.
No,
party.
I'm very excited.
I'm
Look,
excited for you.
Here's the other thing.
But that also contributes to the sort of emptying of the coffers, so to speak.
Well, that's why I've been selling these sneakers, and I'm only going to gamble with the cash that I've gained from goods sold.
That's great.
I am not going with any intention of letting the strings go.
Right.
I'm not going to be. Unfortunately, I'm going to be like less fun than I think people would want me to be.
We'll see.
But they're going to have all the fun that is needed for the group. My friends are they're doing, a lot of them just got their bonuses.
Oh, that's great. So it's going to be party time.
They're killing it, dude.
Well, dude, you know how to do it. You set your daily amount. Who knows? Maybe day one you'll go up big and you don't even end up having to
My
use it all.
thought is I'm going to bring a book and go out to the pool and read for a lot of the hours that they're at the blackjack table. Minimize my exposure.
I like that.
And
That
then
could be-
come back in when I want to drink. Because then you sit at the blackjack table and they bring you drinks for free.
And that's also nice because if you're hanging out around the table, you can still get them for free as well.
I don't know what the situation's going to be like, though, because I think that there are limits on the number of people that can sit at the tables.
That's true, but you can still be around, I think.
There may
I don't know.
even be plexiglass partitions.
Oh, that's crazy. Dude, I told you about what happened in the Bahamas with me, right? When I went on my little run. I told you about that?
You won 12 bets in a row or something.
Yeah. I
That's
won.
amazing.
Yeah, I put down one $15 bet and happened to win, and then I won like 10 bets in a row. And it made my trip because
It's amazing.
I was up. So even if I used my daily allocated amount of gambling to lose, I would be up no matter what.
Wow.
And, whatever. I hope that for you too, because I have gone into Vegas trips, for example, where I did a bunch of shows where I've gone down for $600 the first day. And then, you just lost all that money. You feel bad putting money, like you can't lose more than you're making.
You hate being there.
And then it just starts to feel shitty.
Wow, Giulio, boy, do you look good.
Dude, these fucking sunglasses are sick.
Oh my God. These Pit Viper sunglasses have me ready to run through a wall just to get to the beach.
Dude, we could be the new Daft Punk, baby.
Listen to me.
Pups.
If you're listening, we are wearing Pit Viper sunglasses right now, and they are fun.
They're really very cool.
They're fun. They're polarized. They're festive. They're fucking awesome.
Yeah, they're very futuristic looking, and they kind of take like this style of sunglasses with sort of like the big lens across, like the sort of like sporty. What's the word for that?
Retro, maybe?
I guess, yeah.
Maybe a retro ski vibe is kind of
Yes.
what I'm thinking.
Very good. And
retro ski meets professional wrestler a little bit.
wow, that's really fucking solid.
Just like my Pit Viper sunglasses.
They're very cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start rocking these hard.
Yeah.
And I actually teased a picture of myself wearing these the other day with a poll saying yes or no, and I think the vote was overwhelmingly in favor.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Guys, you got to get a pair of these. We're huge fans. They just came on board with the podcast. Go to pitviper.biz, BIZ/oops. You will get 10% off at checkout. pitviper.biz/oops. I have a question for you, speaking of money.
Sure.
What would it take if you were single for a foreigner who wanted a green card
Oh, wow.
to pay you in order for you to marry that person,
Wow.
get them their green card, and then annul the marriage?
So in order to do that, you're kind of like surveilled for a period of time, right?
You'd have to get to know her.
You have to live together.
You'd have to be able to answer very intimate facts about each other. There's a movie with Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds about this.
How attractive is she? Like,
Let's
is it
say
a person?
It doesn't matter.
Is it a person? Well, I mean,
You're doing this
I guess
purely for financial
you don't have to have
reasons.
sex with them, right? I guess not.
No,
Like, no
again,
one can prove. Yeah,
You know, the thing is, you're putting a divorce on your record.
right. Which
And
is
you have to commit a lot. It's going to take at least a year, maybe two, maybe more.
$1 million.
Really?
Yeah. What about you?
Well, that's more than I had thought, presuming that I were single right now. Like, let's say that somebody from Russia approached me and said,
Hello, Francis. I want to marry you for money.
that's exactly it. And I said, okay, Svetlana, it's going to cost you. And then,
And she says, this is inappropriate to judge what my name will be.
yeah, you know what? You're right. It's at least 800K
Yeah.
for me.
I wouldn't do it for 500.
500 is probably not enough.
Not enough. It's a pain in the ass.
It's a huge amount of work. I guess we'd have to find out what the verification process is like, how difficult the questions are, and what sort of like cohabitation proof you need to have, whether you really need to live together and really get to know this person, or if you can kind of just make a once weekly lunch date where you quiz each other and tell each other stories.
Let's assume you have to live with her. Because, dude, I mean, listen, you could
then
get
it's way
you
higher.
could get some kind of fraud situation.
Yeah, you're.
You know, like that's not great.
No,
So
I think this happens, and
Yeah.
I think people get in big trouble for it.
$1 million, you live together. Maybe she's all right. Maybe she's not that bad. Maybe she's not all right. I mean, listen, how much would it cost you to live with a shitty roommate for a year is essentially the question.
Oh man.
You know?
But again, this presumes that I'm single.
Yeah. All
To
that
live with a shitty roommate.
$1 million.
So
$1 million.
you're talking about somebody that's going to be a bad roommate now.
What would you rather do? That or have to like blow one of your boys
Good God.
one time?
Well, I mean, how do we get here? We always get here. He always gets there.
I don't know. That might not be a good like comparison, but we have an email about this.
Oh, good.
That I
All
would
right,
like to
let's
read.
dive into that.
And I didn't even set that up on purpose. But I like to lean towards I would prefer to just blow my friend
Then marry Svetlana.
than marry Svetlana. And like if the same amount of money's on the table, I don't want to do either of those things. So I want to do the one that takes a significantly less amount of time. There's no stigma attached to that for me. Like I wouldn't have any sort of crisis about having to blow one of my boys, besides the fact that it would be weird to like chill with him after.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully it would be one of my boys who'd be cool about it. Cause some of my boys would be fine with it.
Mm.
They'd be like, dude, that was crazy when like you blew me. Like, okay. So this is the title of this email. Can I offer a bro job to an old friend?
Wow.
As the great Bill Dawes once said, a bro job is better than no job. Okay. So anyway, he goes,
Did he write that or you just say that?
no, Bill Dawes actually says that.
I don't know who Bill Dawes
he's
is.
a great comedian,
Okay.
nice guy. Actually the guy who took me to Vegas with him to do shows.
Nice.
Okay. Anyway, I was sparked to write you after Giulio made that joke question about one guy hooking up with another guy at the bachelor party joke last episode. I definitely did. We did talk about that. I'm truly coming from a good place with this. I live in Boston. I'm a newly out gay man. The selection out here in the Boston area is bleak and flooded with, quote, straight men just experimenting. Now, I know sexuality is a spectrum, So you aren't gay for doing something gay once, twice, or whatever. So, being a young adult, I've indulged a couple of the straight men here in the Boston area. It's honestly usually kind of fun. And if done safely, I don't know why I just used that, but this is good.
Great.
Okay. And if done safely, it's actually a huge turn on for both parties. Two consenting adults having some taboo fun is the best way to describe it. This brings me to why I'm emailing. An old friend who lives here in the Boston area reached out to me recently to reconnect. It's been over 6 years, so this guy has no idea I'm gay because I've never been in a public relationship. He's a great guy from memory, but now that I'm about to see him again, I did some Facebook stalking and he's very good looking now, also single. So I had the crazy thought to offer this guy my services, a bro job, if you will.
Wow.
We haven't spoken until he reached out. I feel he isn't homophobic or anything like that. So my question is this too much to bring up even over drinks? I've always been the one approached by these straight men before. I've never approached another straight man because I've never felt comfortable doing it. Plus, I respect that some guys are just straight. I feel like the situation works perfectly. We're old friends, but we don't really have any connections now. Plus, we're already going for drinks. Is offering to help a single guy in a pandemic wrong?
You know what? This is so good.
Please
So
help.
good.
Some of them might be too horny for their own good. P.S. Love and respect you guys. Blah, blah, blah.
What a fantastic email.
That's pretty good.
So much to unpack here. Lots to unpack here. All right. So the first thought I have is it's amazing that this guy is using Boston as his playground of experimentation.
Yeah, right?
Because in my experience, Boston is a very hard-headed, set in its ways. Even though Massachusetts is considered the most liberal state in the country, Boston
is a tough town. Man.
is this stronghold of blue collar, hey,
Tough guy, fucking, hey, yeah. Hey,
yeah,
fucking, you know.
yeah, Goodwill Hunting, and everyone thinks they're Goodwill Hunting
Right.
that lives there. Every guy,
You typically don't hear the example of like, oh yeah, you want me to fucking check your cock?
yeah.
That's not the classic Boston phrase.
No, it certainly
Oh,
isn't.
Yeah, fuck. Take it out.
Oh,
man.
it's
Put on your fucking
store
pants,
drive,
Kid. Put
I
on
can't
your
fucking
pants,
do
kid.
it. But the point is, it's so great to, obviously it's just indicative of the fact that, as he said, sexuality has become more fluid. People are becoming a little bit more open to the idea that, they can experiment with people of the same sex without it branding them
Totally.
or casting them along one specific line of sexuality. That said, I think it's very important for our hero here to
And he is a
obviously
hero,
come
dude.
out to his friend over this drink or whatever first before he suggests blowing him.
Dude, how's that martini? Fucking whip it out, bud.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you
Totally.
understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yes.
to lay the proposition on him immediately on the heels of all of this. I mean, I hate to say it, the old friend, the guy coming in you got to kind of see, well, hopefully, he's totally embracing of the news.
I'm sure he will be.
And,
Sounds like.
but let's put it this way. Let's say that I reconnected with a friend that I hadn't seen in 6 years and we get together for drinks and the guy tells me that he's gay and we've known each other our whole lives or whatever it is. That's big news. And I would be, wow, thrilled, great. But if immediately after learning that, he then said, and by the way, I've been hooking up with some straight guys here and there. I would love to perform oral sex on you. That's just like a lot in that short of a period of time. I might feel overwhelmed.
Totally.
Not homophobic, not attacked, not anything. Just like, oh,
Yeah.
whoa, that is such a no. I've never been on a date with a woman who said that. I've never had that said to me by anyone, let alone a friend that I just found out was gay. And I just feel like there's gotta be, have a few drinks first, ease your way into that pitch
Mm-hmm.
a little more. Is that?
Yeah. So I think that's a strong point. And I also I think that our hero here shouldn't underestimate the significance of these drinks. Like, if he came out or didn't come out, maybe this guy has an inkling. Like, maybe that's where this is going. That's what I was
going to ask. Do you think this guy who's coming in has a suspicion or set this up even with the potential hope that they might hook up?
I mean, dude, listen, our hero here is clearly the straight boy slayer to begin with. You know
really
what I mean?
Is.
And when you put that energy out in the world, people pick up on it,
Yeah.
So he may not even have to. I don't necessarily think there has to be a dude, can I fucking give you a bro job?
Mm-hmm.
That may not even come up.
Yeah,
like, he may just get to, they may just happen naturally. Yeah, I think my advice would be, if I have any, would be don't ask if he wants the bro job while you're sitting at the bar.
But I have a caveat to that. I would guess that a lot of straight men who are warming to the idea of hooking up with a guy for the first time would be less intimidated by the idea of simply receiving a blowjob as opposed to the unknown
everything else, right?
Process of hooking up with a man, where they may think like, well, does this mean I'm going to have to reciprocate? Are we going to have sex with each other?
Right.
Like,
okay,
making
that's
out,
fair.
all
fair.
of that.
That's fair.
I think there are a lot of guys, and I hate to say it, there are a lot of guys who'd be like, yeah, I'd get a blowjob from a guy, under the right circumstances or whatever, as opposed to being like, I would hook up with a guy.
Oh, right. The blowjob from the guy as opposed to hooking up with the guy is definitely, it's sort of like a counterintuitive sticking your toe in the pond.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But here's an interesting point, and this guy made this point sort of in this email. The straight guy who's trying to kind of experiment seems to be the kind of guy who puts it out there. Like, the idea of like our friend here who's never done this before, who's never been the one that came on, I think there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? That is a much more intimidating thing to do. Like, if you're the straight guy, the gay guy's already gay.
But he doesn't necessarily know that.
He doesn't, you're right. He doesn't know that, but he might know that.
We're assuming maybe he has
There's a chance he knows. What I will say is I'm really curious to hear how this story ends.
I hope we get a follow-up.
So please let us know and keep us posted, because we should give this guy a nickname or something.
Yeah.
I mean, he's certainly our hero.
Yeah.
The bro job warrior. I don't know.
Bro job warrior is good.
Bro job Bob.
Yeah, bro job Bob. Boston, bro job Boston, bro job something. I don't know.
Bro job Boston Bob.
I have something. So in college, my freshman year, I was roommates with 3 people, and 2 of whom were gay. And they were like gay all-stars. They were out earlier in life and arrived at college campus so confident in themselves, so talented, so smart, and
so gay, it sounds like.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like, no doubts, no accept me, none of that. Like, not that anyone says that, I guess, but just like knew who they were and had no doubt that they were going to find friends and no one was going to give them shit about their sexuality. And here we are. It's my world, and I'm going to make the most of it here at college. Arrived at school from high school with more confidence than I did, than anybody did.
Right.
And it was impressive. I was like in awe of their swagger.
Beautiful.
Wearing amazing outfits and like horn-rimmed glasses. They were so put together. Anyway, all of that is to say, I became very good friends with them. And one night I had 3 of my lacrosse buddies over to the dorm, and we were pretty hammered. And one of my roommates was also pretty drunk. And my friends had not had much exposure to openly gay people, because again, we're only 18 years old. And in high school, I don't know about your high school, we didn't have that many openly gay people.
It wasn't as welcoming of an environment as
Yeah.
maybe it could be today. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah. So my friends had questions, and my roommate was totally willing to oblige. And we had all these questions. And one of the things that I remember coming out was that there were players on the football team who had reached out to my roommate and told him, like, hey, we should hang out sometime. You know, do you want to come over to my room? And I think he had hooked up with a couple of the football players who were allegedly straight, you know?
It's funny that scenario is almost like a cliche.
It really
You
is.
know, it's crazy.
Something that you see in like ABC sitcoms.
Or even, I think in Cruel Intentions, or I don't know if it's that specific thing, but you hear about like the guy from the football team hitting up the guy. Yeah.
And here's what I would say. The way that my roommate looked, he had features where, how do I put this? It's like, well, if there was gonna be a guy that football players would feel okay hooking up with, it would be this guy. He was so pretty, and so like he had feminine cheekbones and like hair, and I bet you, because he got it more than any of his gay friends. Like straight guys would hit him up. And I don't know if it was because they somehow talked to each other and they were like, yo, this guy is discreet and won't blow you up. Or if everyone who
I doubt that.
who was closer to the middle of the Kinsey spectrum was just more attracted to this guy.
You just sound like a fucking stud, dude.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, like I think I get what you mean. But then all like the other thing too is it's like you said, like this guy was like the all-star, right? It's like, you know, if you're gonna go for it, the all-star stands out as a person to try with. Maybe.
Yeah, but there were also some gay guys that had killer ripped bodies and, you know, were, let's say, like a little bit more adjacent to a football player kind of guy. And they weren't being hit up or whatever.
I mean, but they might have been too.
Yeah, I guess you don't know. You don't know. Well, we hope that it all goes well for Boston Bro Job Bob and any of you who are considering hooking up with someone of the same sex or of any gender for the first time.
Go for it.
Go for it. Life is too short at this point. We've come too far as a society for anyone to be held back by whatever you think might be a stigma. It's time. It's time.
Get out there, have fun. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be great.
If I had been single or younger and in this age, there's no telling what I would have hooked up with. Who knows? So I wish you all the best, and we'll keep you guys updated. This is Oops the Podcast.
Fucking love it, baby.
Yeah, so fun. I will. We follow us on Instagram, Oops the Podcast. Send us emails. oopsthepodcast@gmail.com.
Check out our YouTube and subscribe and all that stuff.
YouTube merch at oopsthepodcast.com. And I'm Francis, and he's Giulio, and we will see you on Thursday.
If you like this video, we have a bunch more. Just like and subscribe to our channel, and you can get all the videos you want.
Oops.